Today I'm going to be highlighting one of my favorite childhood recipes. It's a super comforting soup that I grew up eating on Guam all the time. It's called Chalakiles. Growing up on Guam was so fun and exciting because it's a gorgeous island in the Pacific Ocean. Now looking back, I feel so privileged to come from a small island where the culture and the food are unlike no other place in the world. Whenever people visit Guam, they always say these three things: that the island is just absolutely gorgeous, that the people are so hospitable and nice, and the food is delicious and incredible. So I'm going to be making a very simple chicken and rice soup called Chalakiles. And this soup is pretty much present all over the island at every event. You have it at fiestas, at weddings, at funerals, at every single event on the island, and I grew up eating this all the time. But I'm going to be doing my take on Chalakiles, which is more health supportive, and I'm going to be doing it with red lentils, with brown rice, and then topping it off with shiitake mushrooms that I'm making into a shiitake bacon. You'll have a mix of helping with digestion, with circulation in the body, and the purification in the body. Plus, I'm using a warming spice using annatto seeds, which in Chamorro, which is the native language of Guam, we call it achoti seeds. So I've already dissolved the achoti seeds in 2 cups of water, and it gives off this gorgeous orangey red color, which is really pretty. It's going to turn the whole soup this color. So achoti seeds are really good in helping maintain diabetes. They're really good at strengthening your bones as well. And they are really good if you want to maintain a youthful, healthy glow, because they have a ton of vitamin E in there. Plus, this dish is such a pleasure to make, and the aromas just heighten all of your senses. The first thing I'm gonna do, I preheated the oven at 400 degrees already because I'm gonna take my brown rice, and this is a cup of brown rice that I have put in the blender to break down each kernel of the rice, and I'm just gonna spread it onto a sheet tray because I wanna toast it in the oven for about 10 minutes or so. This helps give a nutty flavor and turn the rice kernels more brown, and that's really going to enhance the dish with that toasty, nutty flavor. So I have organic bone-in thighs, and I'm using bone-in because I really want the flavor of the bones to seep into the soup and to really flavor the soup really, really well. You can get boneless, but I prefer to have the bone-in. So working with chicken, it's kind of a process, and I always say to people, just be as careful as possible with chicken because it's the one protein that is really easy to get, sick from, and salmonella all over the place. And there's a common misconception that you should wash your chicken. Never, that's just absolutely a no-no. So whenever you take your chicken out, very carefully, just take each piece, and what I do is take a paper towel, and I just pat the entire chicken dry as much as possible, and then I'm just gonna prepare this by putting it on a clean sheet tray lined with parchment paper, and then I'm just gonna season it and put it aside. And even when I dispose of the chicken, I just be careful to not get any of the juice anywhere. I don't touch anything. It's just really important to do this properly. Just season the chicken with some salt. This will help bring out the moisture and just add in some flavor. And I'll do both sides. So I'm using one hand to pick up the chicken and the other one to salt with. I started smelling the rice already, which means it's totally toasted, and look how browned, much more brown that is. Nice, so I'm just gonna lay that aside. Now I'm gonna put this in the fridge just to keep this cool while I prep all the rest of the vegetables. I'm just gonna prep my onions and garlic. I need about a tablespoon of garlic and about half of this onion, and I'm gonna do a small dice. Wow, that onion was really pungent. One day I'm gonna make these cry. So now I'm just gonna chop up a couple scallions just for garnish at the very end, and I'm gonna do it on a diagonal. One of the ingredients that I love putting in my chalakiles is some doni peppers, which are native to Guam. But since I don't have that here, I'm gonna use just this jalapeno pepper and just a little bit of it. You can leave the seeds in there if you want. I'm just gonna leave a few. I don't want it to be super, super spicy, but I do love that nice kick. All right, so we have 2 tablespoons of jalapeno. Everything is mise en place, so let's get cooking. So I'm using my cast iron pot and warming it up on a medium heat. And I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of our olive oil first. And then I'm gonna start with the onions and then the garlic. And this is just so the onions can start to sweat and become translucent and start to flavor the soup. I want to put a pinch of salt to season, and season along the way. The salt will bring out the moisture in the onions and make them more translucent quicker. Next, I'm going to put the chicken in, skin side down. And I'm doing this because I want to brown the chicken in the onion mixture and just get a nice glaze in there. Just brown them nicely and evenly. I'm letting the chicken rest so it can caramelize and brown really nicely on both sides. And I love this because this is the type of dish where you really honor the ingredients and just let the aromas fill your space. So it's browning pretty nicely. I've turned it over. And now I'm gonna add in the garlic. I didn't want to add in the garlic earlier because I don't want it to burn. I want it to blend in the flavor. So now I'm gonna add in the garlic and just mix it around as much as possible. I wish you could smell this. It smells amazing. I'm gonna season with a little more salt, and I'm gonna put in about 4 cups of water and submerge the chicken into it. So now I'm just gonna bring this to a boil and let the chicken cook in the liquid a little bit. So it's been boiling for about 10 minutes now, and the chicken looks pretty cooked. So what I'm gonna do is take it out and just put it on the side because I wanna cool it a little bit, remove the skin, and then take the chicken off of the bone, shred it, and then put it back in the soup. And I'm just gonna lower the heat down a little bit and just let it cover and simmer. Whenever I think about certain foods, it always brings me back to a time and place in my life that just makes me super happy. Even though this soup is hot, and growing up on Guam, it was about 100% humidity and tropical island all the time, anytime that this soup was available, I always just made sure I had a cup because to me it was just a reflection of my culture, and it's just super delicious. So I shredded all of the chicken, and as it cooled, I just started doing it with my hands. It was just way easier. So now what I'm gonna do is take the chicken and put it back inside of the soup and let it cook inside of the liquid. Next, I'm gonna add my achoti water. Ooh. Get all of that good stuff in there. And now I'm gonna add my toasted rice. Mix it around pretty well. This was only a cup of rice, but I wanna make sure that they don't clump together inside the liquid and stick together. And now I'm gonna add the red lentils. And this is my own take on it because I think red lentils taste really good. The color goes really well with this dish, and I want to add some more clean protein in here. All right, now we're going to bring this to a boil, then to a simmer, and I'm still going to be stirring it around every once in a while just to make sure that they don't stick together, and also to check and see how the rice and the lentils have cooked. So the soup is really thickening up. It's getting to the consistency that I like it at. I'm gonna give it another 10 more minutes, but I'm gonna add in some seasoning in here. So I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And typically in this recipe, you use white vinegar, but I really like apple cider because it's way more health supportive and it gives it that right kind of zing that tastes really good. Now I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder. And a pinch more salt. Now I'm going to add the jalapeno, and I have 2 tablespoons in here. I'm going to start with 1 and see how I feel about the flavor and the heat. It's important to season as you go because it really does help to cook with all of your senses and make sure that it has the right amount of flavor, whether it be salt, sweet, bitter, sour. It's nice to have that important balance in order to make the dish really special and really delicious. I think it could use the last tablespoon. I'm gonna add that in there. It's not too hot, but it gives it a really nice flavor. Oh yeah, baby. All right, I'm gonna let this boil for another 5 to 10 minutes and then check it in a little bit. I'm gonna leave the cover on, but slightly ajar, so it still is steaming. So the soup has been cooking for about 15 minutes and it's at this beautiful thick consistency that I absolutely love. And it's so delicious. Oh, I've been taste testing it this whole time and it tastes so good. This reminds me of my childhood and gives me so many happy memories. And it's the kind of soup where it's warming, it's good for you, it's nourishing, it helps with your digestive system. The achoti seeds help with your diabetes if you have it. So all in all, it's a healthy soup, especially when you add in brown rice and you add in the red lentils. This is the kind of dish where you just want to enjoy it with someone you absolutely love. Yum. So I'm topping this with some scallions and some shiitake bacon, which is going to give it that like really nice umami flavor and that crunch. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you definitely go home and make this chalakiles with the brown rice and the red lentils. It's so comforting and really healthy for you. If you liked this video, definitely click like and subscribe to my channel, and I can't wait to share more videos. Take care, be well, bye.